Well, welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Meet the Author. Today, I have Monica Murphy here with me. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Hi, everybody. Hi. No, thank you, Michaela, for having me. I appreciate it.
I'm so excited that you're here. So, I like to start these author interview questions with just kind of an easy icebreaker question, gets people in the right setting for all these questions. So, I have to know: do you consider yourself more of an introvert or an extrovert when it comes to kind of your personality?
Oh gosh. I mean, I would probably say I'm more on the extroverted. What did I hear people say I'm an introverted extrovert? I feel like that can happen with me. I'm one of those people who like I make plans and I'm like, oh, I can't wait. And then the day is happening and I'm like, why'd I do this? You know what I mean? So, but I always have a good time once I'm with people. I do love to be around people. I love to be around book people. And I think it really showed me how much I missed being around people once we were, in our pandemic times. Like, they were kind of isolated there for a little bit. And it was nice to be back out in the world. This year has felt very much like back out in the world and
Oh,
part of
yeah.
last year too. Yeah. It's
Oh,
been
yeah.
nice.
I definitely feel like that. I am definitely an extrovert. I don't like to be by myself. Give me, an hour or two, and then I'm calling someone like, hey, are you bored? Hey, do you want to come do something? So I can totally see that too. But there's every now and then that I make plans and I'm sitting on my couch, like binging a TV show or reading a book, and I'm like, oh, I think I'm sick now. I don't think I want to go
Right.
anymore.
Why did I agree to this? Right. All my
Well,
friends are going to be like, oh, she doesn't like any of us. No, I'm kidding. It's
I
not true.
I I've been that way too. Well, I want to first off say congrats. You just published a new book. I'll go ahead and grab it right here because obviously we're going to be talking about the wrap up to the
Yes.
player series we have Playing to Win right here. It is stunning. I'm like
Yes.
obsessed with this. I love the color scheme that you did for all these
Thank
books.
you.
Starting with Playing Hard to Get and then Playing by the Rules,
Yes.
and now the book
Yes.
Playing to Win. They're so pretty all together. Talk to me
They look
about
good together, huh?
they look so good together. They're gonna sit
Yeah.
separately on my shelf too, side by side.
Yeah.
I'm so excited. Talk to me about what this writing process was for you going into knowing, that this was going to be the last book of the Player series. Was it hard for you, getting ready to say goodbye to some of these characters, or was it one of those that you were ready for it and you're, kind of it was good to let them go?
It really didn't hit me until the end that I'm like, "Oh, I'm done." And if we really go back, I have been writing for 10 years, and the first book I wrote was One Week Girlfriend, and the fourth book in that series is 4 years later, and that couple they're the parents of the kids in the players. It's Knox McGuire and then his sisters Blair and Ruby. And so and then the Callahans came in between that. And I've been writing about the same family off and on for like 10 years. So it's kind of weird to know that this was it. This is it for the McGuires. This is it for that whole thing. I might have one thing up my sleeve that hasn't been revealed yet. So, I will just drop that bomb right there, but not reveal the bomb. So, which I think people are going to die for once it comes out. But in the meantime, yeah, it just didn't really hit me until I was done with it. But I had the most fun writing this book. Like, this book was a lot of fun. He's fun. She's fun. This has just been a really, for me, a feel good series, especially when I write my Lancasters. Lancaster Prep is a little darker, a little more, I don't know. There always feels like there's drama and treachery lurking about. And so for this one, it's just straightforward, fun, and sexy. And so it like gives my brain a bit of a break from all the dark happenings of Lancaster Prep. So yeah, but it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed writing this book.
That's awesome, and I think it's an
Yeah.
incredible book, and, it's crazy how you've been able to connect everything, going through. Talk about just a little bit, yourself, maybe if people have never picked up a Monica Murphy book, kind of just who are you? Who is Monica Murphy? What is your life like? That kind of thing.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I've been writing as Monica for 10 years. I write mostly new adult, some contemporary romance, some young adult romance. But most of my stuff is like college set, or I have some that's high school set as well. My glasses keep slipping, that's why I keep going. Anyway, uh, I'm a mom. I have 3 kids. Married. I'm a cat person, but I do love my dog. I'm a native Californian. We live not too far from Yosemite, so kind of in the foothills. It's hot. It's always hot. We just dealt with good old Hurricane Hillary this weekend, but nothing happened. It was like no big deal. Anyway, but yeah, I just when I'm not writing, I'm like spending time with my family. We like to travel. I like to read. I like to binge watch shows. You know, just the usual. Pretty average lady.
Pretty average lady that, has 3 kids, writes full, doing all these other things too. That's I don't know how authors do it, honestly. You guys are incredible. You blow my mind every single time I meet someone. It's like just how you balance life and everything, and then especially
Oh,
being a mom. I mean, that's just incredible, just all that you're able to do.
you know, it's a lot, but I will say this, that now my baby, he is going to be 19. So, all my kids are older and they can pretty much just fend for themselves. And so it's a lot different. It was different 10 years ago when they were a lot younger. And I've been, I actually have been writing since '06, but um yeah, it's hard to make that balance. In the earlier years, there was a lot of night writing, or ooh, they're in preschool, I can write, you know what I mean, that kind of thing. So yeah, it's a true balance. I've known authors who have a full-time job, married, kids, and they write. Like, I don't know how you do all that. Like, I'd be exhausted. Something has to give, you know what I mean? But
It
yeah.
blows my mind every single time I meet people. What is your typical, writing day like for you now that you said your kids, are a little bit older and everything? What's just a day in the life like for you when you are actively writing and doing things like that?
I mean, it's chaos. Like this morning, I told myself it's Monday, a fresh start. You just get right to it, and instead, it's like noon, and I'm like, oh my god, I still haven't written a real word. And then it was like 3:30, and I'm like, I still haven't written a word. I don't know what happened to today, but there was all kinds of emails and this and that, and so I would say though, when I'm really on a steady pace, I try to get my words done in the morning. There's nothing that feels more like I've accomplished something than by like the time I want to eat lunch, I'm like, I'm done. And so yeah, I try to average about right now. I'm doing about 3 to 5,000 words a day. I feel like I have deadlines from now until eternity at the moment, and so I can't look at the big picture because then I'll get really freaked out. So I just have to focus on what I'm doing right now. So I'm working on a book right now, and it's going well. And I also have to do like there's a lot of admin involved, like answering emails and social media and all that stuff. So I try to have a diligent schedule, and most of the time it just seems to fall apart. But
Hey,
yes,
all you can do is wake up every day, try to have a good schedule, and if it doesn't happen that day, try again tomorrow. I try to tell myself, big picture. I think for anybody, big picture can stress you out, whether it's, deadlines or anything in life.
yes.
Even just for me, if I think about, oh my gosh, what would it be like to be, 60 or 70? I'm like, that's so long from now. Like that stresses me out. And it's like I don't even know why those thoughts come to my head, but then I think about wow, being alive for that long, like that's crazy, and that's too much for me. So
Yeah, I mean, part of my problem is too is like this is a busy month somehow for me. There's a lot that's been going on. So like one of the things, we went to Santa Barbara over the weekend. My son is moving down there for school, and so that kind of throws a wrench in my schedule when there's all these personal things that are happening. And so this month is busy. So for you
yeah,
asking, what's your schedule like? I'm like, well, it's chaos this month. I can't keep it straight because if it's not one thing going on, it's another. So but it's all good.
all,
September will be calmer, so that's a good thing.
all positive things. Well, that's
Yeah, yeah,
exciting.
yeah,
Exciting that you're working on a book.
yeah.
I know again, we'll kind of shift a little bit, talking about, you did just finish writing and editing and putting a book out there. So we'll focus for a minute on Playing to Win. For
Yes.
people who maybe haven't picked up the Player series, this is the third book in this series. Talk a little bit about people what can expect when they jump into Playing to Win.
So Ace Townsend is the brand new starting quarterback at my fictional generalized Colorado University, and he's a playboy. He's easygoing, friendly guy, and so he sees Ruby McGuire, and she is the sister of a football player who is now graduated. He's gone, and the daughter of a professional football player. She just comes from a family where there's a lot of football players. And so she's just like, no, not interested. He's just a player. I have no desire. But then they reconnect months later, and she works for the social media team that does all the social media for the football team. And so they're definitely interested in each other. She's giving into her interest and feelings for him, but there's a strict no dating clause for the social media team. And so, of course, they try to figure out a workaround on how to see each other. So there's some sneaking around. There's a bit of a forbidden, tone to the book because of the fact that they shouldn't be seeing each other, which of course always makes you want something more, right? I can't
Obviously,
have this.
I
So I
love a
want
good romance try. As soon as I saw that when it came out with like the before the arc with like the sneak peek and everything, it was like the tropes for this book, and it was like forbidden romance. It's like yes,
yeah, yeah. And it was kind of fun to have that element as, that strict no dating clause. Like, there's a lot of workplaces that have that kind of thing as well. That's where my husband and I met. We met at work. So it's like,
did you
you
have a no
know,
dating clause?
we did not at that time. Yeah, but there's a lot of places that put that into effect. And especially as we are at a certain age, like if you're at the workplace, you spend all your time with those people and you can get really close to those people. And yeah, when there's like no dating clauses, that really puts a wrench in it, right? So yeah, it was fun to use that and to have her. She also wasn't 100% impressed with him because I think it's easier to not be impressed when football is all you know all your life. Your dad's former pro, whatever. So, and of course, that just made him want to try even harder to impress her, right? I mean, I didn't want her to be like, oh, I'm not that, I'm different from other girls. I know some people don't like that kind of
Yeah,
trope. I just wanted her to be like realistic, like, look, this is what I come from. Like, you're no big deal to me.
yeah.
But then he turned into a big deal to her because he's hot. I love him. He's probably my favorite of the three.
I think him between him and Cam, it's really close for me.
Really, there's a
Not
ton of Knox lovers out
I
there.
love Knox too. I love Knox. So I think there's something about a character named Knox. Like some of all of my
I
favorite
know.
have Knoxes in them, and I'm just like, what is it with Knox? But I don't know. Cam and Blair, the whole like their back and forth the whole time was like so good for me. And then I loved Ace too, and this book was just all of it's so good. I'm like big college football. It's like my favorite time of year is college football. So getting
Okay.
to read a college football romance, I was just like eating it up the whole time. I was
Oh, good, good. I'm so glad. Yeah,
so
if anybody's looking for angst, the second book in the series has definitely got the most angst between Cam and Blair and the whole I can't and I shouldn't, but I
fun.
will, but I won't. But yeah, all of that. So poor old Cam. I feel like I tortured him.
Yeah, I just that was I don't know. Love me some Cam, but I love I mean again, they're all so so good and I just enjoyed the whole series, but
Oh, thank
for
you.
people yeah, for people who, wanted to read this, obviously it is a great series. College football heavy. Obviously every single one of them, the main love interest is a football player on the team. And then
Right.
you have the girls, kind of being involved. And I like that the friend group kind of evolves too. Like you can see
Yeah.
meet the people from all the different stories and they start to like intertwine and kind of going through. Do you plan I know you do that kind of with a lot of your books. Is that on purpose that you want to see those characters kind of all the way through your stories, or does it just kind of happen when you're writing that way?
I mean, I like to pull them in and then keep them in as much as possible because I feel like people well, first of all, it's like, okay, so Natalie was just so nice to always have there because she's just it's good just to have that friend there. And so, Joanna moves. Oh, well, now Natalie can live with Ruby. So, it was that was kind of fun just to keep her. So that's a convenient part. But there's also, I think there's something about having almost like a found family in a sense. Like when you do go away to school, like you do have your friends, and it's nice to be able to, have them all be there. And just I like having all the banter between the friends and the funny things. I don't want to reveal too much, but like, Natalie gets her happy ending there at the end too. And it's just fun to see everybody through each book and to see how they evolve and where they end up. So yeah, I've got people asking me for like a novella showing where everybody's at, and I'm just like, oh, maybe someday. My schedule is so full right now, I can't do it. But
You're like,
I
you
kinda did
guys.
that for the Callahans, and that was fun. That was a lot of fun to do that. It just kinda gave everybody just that, here is where they're all at now, that
Yeah.
glimpse. Yeah.
You're like, everybody, I'm writing as fast as I can. I need you guys to.
It's true. It's true. There's a lot going on right now, and so it's been, you know, yeah. I wish I could do that, but it's not happening right now. Maybe someday. I never say never. I always tell readers that. Never say never, because next thing you know, I'm doing something that I truly, fully expected not to do. So like right
That's
about the McGuire kids, that was never originally part of the plan. So
and now you have a whole trilogy that is just
I
about the
have a whole
McGuire kids, and
trilogy.
everybody loves it.
And it was a true joy to write. So yeah, no regrets there.
That's awesome. Speaking of, kind of writing and some of the characters and books and things like that, do you like to take some people, maybe some elements from your real life and put those in your books? Or do you just try to keep it strictly, this is all fiction I created in my head and you don't necessarily pull things from your real life?
Oh no, my kids give me so much good stuff. Like something something just happened. I can't even remember what, and I'm like, that's like book worthy. I need to write it down immediately because then I forget. Like my son was just telling some story, and I'm like, that is so book worthy. I can't even believe it. Um, I what really Yes, I can always pull from real life. I feel like a lot of the time, even there are elements of myself in a lot of books, just little things. A few years ago, when my daughter was still in high school, I've told this story time again. I was cheer coach for her team at high school, and so I was living that Friday night lights, deal for months at a time, and surrounded by teenage girls who were sharing all of their stories with us. And so, yeah, there's a lot of inspiration I got from them as well. Of course, all identities were kept,
Yeah.
secret, and elements were changed, but like there's just so much being around kids like that. You really understand what they're going through and how they're dealing with stuff. And so, and then also being around them, they're young and they do dumb stuff. And I love it when I get criticized for, oh, they're so immature. Hi, they're 18 or they're 17 or they're 20 or whatever age they are. We do dumb stuff when we're that age. So not everybody is mature and has got their stuff together at that age. And I think that's a lot of the fun of writing about characters that age, is because you are allowed to make all those mistakes. It's expected.
I think people may, there's always going to be people that are going to have the criticism and things like that. But I think in a sense too, you may have people that are, close to that age that are 17, 18, 19, that maybe they are picking up some of these books and they're seeing some things that, maybe it's not exactly their life, but some elements that, like, oh, I've kind of made decisions like this, or, oh, there's these people go through things similar to me. And so
Yes.
it helps people too, to see people that even if it's not your life, that, even if it's in a book, that it's still situations that could happen. And it's like, okay, you're not alone. And even if it's just one or two people that connect with characters on that level, I feel like it's, totally worth it to have made that connection for someone to have that ability.
I completely agree with you. And I feel like that's why this age, to write about this age, especially like college, I, even for older readers, we've all been there and we've all done something, or known somebody who did something or whatever, right? And like we can relate to that time. And it's a fun time of your life. Like I just mentioned, we got my son's apartment set up in Santa Barbara, and we're driving around after we're done. My husband and I were like, God dang, my son, he is so lucky. Like there are college students everywhere. It's beautiful. They're right on the beach. What a great time, right? And you're going to college. What a great time. What a great time. So, yeah, like best time ever to I mean, of course there are also hardships and heartbreak and struggles and whatever else, and everything feels heightened during that time as well. But
Yeah.
it's just fun to write about that time, and I think that readers enjoy reading about that kind of time of your life because we can all relate to it and remember how it felt.
I think, yeah, too, especially, I've been out of college for about 2 years now, and I miss
Uh-huh.
college every single day. I love me some I mean, college is
Did
just
you? Did you?
the time, but I think, a lot of times people talk about kids changing, being most impressionable between being a freshman and being a senior. And I definitely think there's a lot of change and growth that happens there. But I think, me personally, and a lot of people could relate to that, that between your freshman year of college and your senior year of college, I mean, I feel like that's where you have the biggest growth as a human being, just because, going straight out of school at 17, I was 17 when I started college, and a lot of people are
Okay, yeah.
18, and, you're away from home for the first time and dealing with all these changes in life for the first time. And by the time you're a senior, I mean, you're so impressionable, but there's so many things that are happening, which is why I think writing books for that age is so good, because there's so many things that people can pick up and life events that are happening. But 4 years is a long time. People think like, oh, college, it goes by really fast, but also it's a long
Yes.
time too. Like a lot of things can change for someone in
Oh,
4 years.
no. I totally agree with you. And I also agree. Like there's a big change from freshman to senior in high school for sure. You're basically still like a little kid. You think you're a big kid, you graduate or promote, whatever they call it, from 8th grade. You're a big kid. You're cool. But then you get to high school, you're like, oh, and then by the time you're a senior, you have really changed. But then it starts all over again, like you said, for college. And it's a big difference. I totally agree.
That's awesome. Well, pausing a little bit, time out on the player series. There's
Yes.
another series ish, that we want to talk about. That's big news. This is actually my introduction to you was with A Million Kisses.
Okay.
This was my introduction to you, and obviously I loved it, and so I kept reading your stuff. But let's talk about the fact that this is about to be everywhere. How
It
excited are
is.
you for that and the new cover and everything that's coming?
Yeah, yeah, I'm really excited. It's coming out in its new paperback edition with bonus content on August 29th, which is not tomorrow, but a week from tomorrow. So it will be in Barnes and Noble, Books a Million, Target, Walmart. It's hopefully everywhere. Hopefully anybody who's looking for it can go right to their favorite store to buy books and find it. And I'm really excited. I'm excited to be working with Entangled Publishing, who is bringing the whole series to bookstores. I'll Always Be With You is already out in bookstores. It's mostly at Barnes and Noble and Books a Million right now.
Mm-hmm.
But the true, I'm gonna sound silly, but the true like jewel of the series is A Million Kisses. That's the one that's been the most successful, and so that's why it's available at so many stores. And I'm really excited to hopefully find new readers and get the book in more hands. So yeah,
What is
I'm
that like for you? Obviously you wrote this book a while ago and it's been out for a while, but now, just like you said, you're hopefully bringing in new readers, and now it's going to show up in Barnes and Noble and Books a Million and Target. What is that like for you, kind of seeing new people coming in, even though the book has been out for a while? It's kind of like it just got published all over again. What is that like for you?
I mean it's kind of wild that this book still does so well. I mean, it has been a consistent top seller all year. It came out in March of 22, so it's been out a year and a half, and it is still one of my top sellers of this year too. And I get tagged and stuff every day, Instagram, TikTok, whatever. It's a really loved book, and I had no idea when I wrote it in my furious little way of writing it in a very short period of time. And so it's just it really makes me happy that so many people have responded to it. And I think a lot of it has to do too with like the whole art aspect as well, just the whole meaning behind A Million Kisses in Your Lifetime, which was really fun to play off of. Um, yeah, I just love that it's being rediscovered. I was in England over the summer, and the series is really. I have a UK publisher, and it's really taken off there. And it was kind of mind blowing to see how many readers. I did a couple events, and I did the rare London book signing, and I had so many people come with their copies of the UK, edition. And I just love all the love for Lancaster Prep, and it's pretty amazing. I feel pretty lucky that readers have responded so well to it.
That's awesome. I'm gonna out myself here for a second. So when I
Yeah.
found this book, it was, someone on TikTok was talking about it, and I was like, perfect, I'm perfect. It. So I started it in the morning, and I just kept reading it all day long on my Kindle, and I just couldn't stop. And then all of a sudden it was like almost midnight and I finished
Oh
it.
my god.
I didn't realize how big this book was until I owned it physically. Like, this is not a small book. This is not a small book by any means. And I really,
No.
like, Kindles really downplay things. Like, you think you're just reading a book, going normal. And I read this book in a day and I was just eating it up. I loved everything about it. I loved the meeting. When I got to the whole Million Kisses and you're like, oh, I was just like, I loved it so much.
Oh, thank you so much.
I got my physical copy and I was like, wow, I really read this whole thing in a day.
I know it's a big one. It's not even the biggest one of the series. Things I wanted to say is the biggest book, and that one, like, I could probably murder somebody with that book if I wanted to. It's so big. Um, but yeah, that book is long. Like, it took me, and I busted it out fast. Like, I've told this story a lot too. I lost 12,000 words of that book at one point writing it, and I was devastated and thought I would have to put it on pause and get back to it later because I had another deadline. And then I was like, no, I have to finish it. And so I had one reader, I always bring this up too. I had one reader tell me once, I felt like when I was reading this, I was in a fever dream. And I'm like, well, I felt like when I was writing it, I was in a fever dream. Like, I was just like, ah, my computer all day. Like, it was nuts, but it was worth it. So I can't complain.
So awesome and so good. And again, this one is going to be redistributed everywhere so soon. All of the stores,
Kind of week.
a week. I'm going to post this tomorrow. So a week from today, we'll
Oh,
just say,
perfect.
on the 29th, this is going to be coming out and everyone can go find it. And that's just exciting. And then when is the next one going to be published? Because A Million Kisses is now. And then I know you have more that are coming out too.
Yeah, so it hasn't been officially announced, but we just discussed it here literally Friday. And so the official, I don't know if I should announce this, but the next two books will be coming out November 28th. So, and I'm not sure exactly where they're going to be distributed yet. I'm sure a lot of this is going to depend on like how well A Million Kisses does in different locations. And so, yeah, so we'll see. It will for sure be at like Barnes and Noble and probably Books a Million and all of the bigger chain bookstores. So yeah,
That's
possibly Target. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
so
But yeah,
excited.
I'm excited. I'm excited that they're all going to be out by the end of the year. So that's exciting.
You'll have to catch me a week from today. Again, we're going to post this on Tuesday. So a week from
Yeah.
Tuesday,
Okay,
um, I'll
perfect.
be, I'll be pulling into the Barnes and Noble. I got to get my bonus.
We're gonna
Got
have like we're gonna announce we're gonna do a giveaway. We're gonna have a hashtag and we're gonna be like, take photos of A Million Kisses out in the wild because I'm dying to see where everybody can find it. So
That's so
it's
exciting.
exciting. I'm really excited for it to be out in stores. And it's such a
No,
gorgeous cover. I got to give Emily Wittig all the credit for that cover. And then they redid all the covers to look similar to A Million Kisses, and they're all beautiful. And we're revealing the next book's cover on Wednesday, so on the 23rd, and that cover is just stunning. It's my second favorite to A Million Kisses. It's just
oh,
beautiful.
I'm so
So
excited. Can't wait. Can't
yeah,
wait to see that. That's definitely
can't wait to share it. Yeah.
perfect. Well, before we kind of wrap this up and everything, where can people find, we're talking about A Million Kisses and, the few other books that are coming out to Books a Million, Barnes and Noble, but so for some of your other books, like the Player series and things like that, where can people most easily find you? If they're like, okay, I love this, I want to just pick up all and binge read everything. Where's the best way for people to find you and your books?
I mean, you can go on my website, which is monicamurphyauthor.com, and I do need to update it, but it's pretty well up to date. And most of my stuff is in Kindle Unlimited. I do have some things that aren't. I have things with publishers that are more wide at all retailers. So Amazon. I do have some things at Barnes and Noble, Apple, all of that. And I'm on Instagram. Where I like to post the most is Instagram. So Monica Murphy Author there. Facebook, Monica Murphy Author. I have a newsletter, so that I send out once a week. So I mean, I try to keep everybody as updated as possible everywhere I can be. I have a Facebook group. I'm all over the place.
She's everywhere. You can access her
I'm
everywhere.
everywhere. You can't shake me, no.
That's awesome. Well, Playing to Win is out now, so people can go
Yes.
and get this. They can read it. The whole Player series is done, so they can pick up the first book. You can start and you can read about Knox playing hard to get, and then you
Yeah.
can jump into the sister. You can go into Blair and then Ruby stories. The whole series complete, good to go. So that is available now. And then
Yes.
Million Kisses obviously is coming out on the 29th that everyone can
Yeah.
get excited for. And then all of your other books. And it's just so good, so exciting. You know, the cover that you're going to share, all of those details. I'm just so excited for all the things that are going to come for you.
Oh, thank you, Michaela. I appreciate it. Thank you for having me. Thank you for letting me talk about all my fun stuff going on.
It sounds like you were very busy, but in a good way. Is there
Yes, yes.
anything else that you want to say, maybe to readers, or just anything else that you want to say before we kind of wrap this up?
I mean, just to thank all the readers for the last couple of years have been so great, and I appreciate all the love for Lancaster Prep and for the players. I've gotten a lot of love for them as well, and yeah, I'm just gonna keep. I got a whole bunch of stuff I can't wait to announce to you. There's so many things to announce here in these next few months. Like it's a lot, so I'm excited for that as well.
So everyone needs to keep their eyes and their ears open.
They
Stay tuned.
do. There's a lot coming up.
They need to go turn the little bell notification on your Instagram post.
Right, right. Yeah, they
Everything
do.
to get notified for. Well, again, thank you so much for coming on here today. It has been an absolute blast. And for
Yeah.
everyone, make sure you are saying subscribe to me here in this channel so you can see more author interviews to come up and just book reviews and ratings and everything else. And until next time, thanks, guys.
Thank you.